The St. Louis Cardinals have a pitching prospect that is soaring through their system. Could Quinn Mathews be a viable option for next year's rotation? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I do want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure you stop by, like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification button so you know when new episodes are posted, because this is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. So the Cardinals got a much-needed walk-off win on Wednesday to beat the surging San Diego Padres. We are going to talk about that. I want to talk about Nolan Arenado. I want to talk about Pallante. They got a day game today, which is going to be starting in about an hour from now. So we'll see what happens there. Sonny Gray taking on Michael King, who is pretty darn good. They got quite the staff over there in San Diego. But one of the headlines for the Cardinals yesterday was the promotion of one of their top pitching prospects. That's where I want to start today. I want to talk about Quinn Matthews. He got promoted to AAA Memphis. Now, if you're a fan of the team and you only pay attention to the Major League roster, nothing wrong with that. You may not be familiar with who Quinn Matthews is just yet, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, to give you the knowledge about some of the stuff maybe you're not as familiar with. So as much as I wish we could be sitting here talking about, hey, we've got this Cardinals-Padres series, and it's neck and neck between them in a wild card spot, that's not really the case right now. They are very much on the outside looking in, 7 back in the wild card, 10.5 back in the division. So it's not looking good. But last night was fun to get the win. And the news about Quinn Matthews was pretty cool yesterday. Quinn Matthews, 2024 season, it's been a bright spot for a Cardinals organization that has seen a lot of their young prospects not do all that well. And I'm talking more about like the Jordan Walkers and the Nolan Gormans, where they didn't go to the levels we thought they were going to go. So that's been disappointing. But Quinn Matthews has not had any problems whatsoever. The left-hander was drafted in the 4th round out of Stanford by the Cardinals in the 2023 draft. Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year in 2023, was a Golden Spike semifinalist. Compiled a 10-4 record, 3.75 ERA in 2 complete games, over 19 appearances and 18 starts with Stanford. Struck out 158 batters, only 40 walks, and 124 2/3 innings of work. Those 158 strikeouts, by the way, second most in Stanford history for a single season. The dude was a beast. The dude was a beast in college. So it was a little bit shocking to me that when you go and look back at things, that he lasted until the 4th round. But there he was. Cardinals scoop him up, and he's been outstanding. So he starts the year here in 2024, first year of pro ball in A-ball at Palm Beach. He goes 3-1, 6 starts, 1.47 ERA, 52 whiffs, 30 2/3 innings, only 11 walks. The whip, 0.815, strikeouts per 9 at 15.3. Just ridiculous. Clearly, he was above what Palm Beach was offering, was ready for more of a challenge, so they promote him to high A Peoria. The dominance doesn't stop, though. In 7 starts with the Chiefs, he goes 3-1, 2.68 ERA, 58 punchies, and 43 2/3 innings, only 9 walks. Got that whip even lower at 0.756. The strikeouts per 9 at 12. On to the next stop. No use in sticking around here. This place is dead anyway. Let's move on. Double-A Springfield makes 9 starts, goes 2-1, 2.41 ERA, 70 strikeouts, and 52 1/3 innings. His walks skyrocket, being facetious here, to 15. The whip still under 1, 0.955. Strikeouts per 9, again, right at that 12 per 9 clip. For the year, when you combine all of the things he's done, you've got an 8-3 record. You've got a 2.27 ERA, 180 strikeouts In 126 and 2/3 innings, you got a whip of 0.853, strikeouts per 9 at 12.8. Absolutely elite stuff. Incredible stuff. In his most recent start, he struck out 12 batters and allowed just 1 run on 2 hits and a walk in 7 2/3 for Springfield. Carried a perfect game bid through 6 1/3 innings there before it was broken up by a solo home run. The guy has been incredible. And with the reshuffling of the MLB pipeline prospects, he comes in as the number 3 prospect for the Cardinals, but by far and away has been the most impressive prospect in the system that has, pretty much played the whole year, because this year's first round pick, JJ Weatherhole, he's your number 1 prospect right now on MLB pipeline. And he slid right into the top spot. He looks like he's going to be something special, but he's just getting going, right? And then you've got Teen Kentz, who's your number 2 prospect. He's 4-3, 2.66 ERA at AA. Springfield had a little bit of a injury hiccup here this year, but looks to be healthy, just pitched, looked good. And then you got Matthews, who becomes the first player to ascend to all 4 levels of the Cardinal system in one season since 2019, when, do you guys know who this was? There's 2 of them, actually. The legendary duo of Junior Fernandez and Tommy Parsons did it. What? You don't remember Junior Fernandez and Tommy Parsons? Come on now. Parsons was with Memphis last year, actually. Never made it to the big leagues, though. And then Fernandez did make it to St. Louis, appeared in 47 games over 4 seasons, but was selected off waivers by the Pirates in 2022. I believe he's in Japan now. I think he's in Japan or Korea, one of the 2. He's not in the States anymore, I don't think. But back to Matthews. AAA, obviously, the next stop in his journey to the major leagues. And before we get ahead of ourselves, no, I do not expect Quinn Mathews to make an appearance on the major league roster this year. I really don't. Now, he was drafted in the same year as some pretty familiar names. Paul Skeens, number 1 overall pick out of LSU in 2023. But Paul Skeens is a different animal altogether. All right. He's just something special. Okay. He's just built differently. As far as pitching prospects go, I mean, there's nothing Paul Skeens can't do. So comparing anybody to Paul Skeens, it's a little bit silly. But there has been other guys from the 2023 draft that have made their way up to the major leagues. Number 2 pick, Dylan Cruz, just got called up by the Nationals. Wyatt Langford's been up with the Rangers. Number 6 pick, Jacob Wilson, up with the A's this year. The Reds just called up the number 7 overall pick, Rhett Lauder, to their rotation. But Matthews, I mean, he's not that far behind him, in all honesty. And considering he's a 4th round pick and not one of the top 7 picks in the entire draft, pretty darn impressive. So my guess is they will let him finish the year out at AAA. Maybe he gets some time in the Arizona Fall League, depending on the innings. They may not need to look at him anymore and be like, dude, take some time off and get ready for the spring, because I'm guessing they'll take a long, hard look at him in spring training next year to see if he is a viable option for the opening day roster. When we talk about next year's rotation, you've got Sonny Gray, you've got Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, and Steven Matz all under contract next year. Now, do they decide to move on from any of those guys via trade? Maybe. I don't know. Obviously, if you try to move Michaelis and Matz, we've talked about this, you'd have to eat a big chunk of that salary. Cardinals don't necessarily like to do that. They do hold the options on Gibson and Len. But with Andre Pallante doing what he's been doing, why would you pay money for Gibson or Len? And if Matthews continues to be as good as he's been so far in his career, why not give him a chance at the big league level? I mean, we're not talking about a high school kid who's just fresh off the farm and is like just kind of getting used to everything. This is a 23-year-old guy. You don't have to handle this guy with kids' gloves. He's 23. He's going to be 24 in October. So him coming up as quickly as he has, it's not as dangerous in my eyes. So why the hell not, right? When we talk about the youth, Pallante, 26 next month, Hintz, 22. They're handling him with some care. Obviously, the injuries this year being a big portion of that. Matthews, like I said, 23, going to be 24. McGreevy's 24. Jerpy's 23. Graceffo's 24. Matt Svanson, who's been outstanding as a closer at Springfield, he's 24. You've got Sim Robertson, Takoa Roby, 22. some of these guys, not all of them, but some of these guys are going to be a big part of the Cardinals' future next year and for sure in 2026. Now, do you trust the Cardinals to develop them so they all have the bright futures that it looks like a few of them have? That's a different story altogether. But, the future is not as bleak as we may think it is because of the way things are going at the major league level. There is some talent in this system, and we just hope that it comes to fruition, that they become the guys that we're hoping they will and don't kind of fall into the pattern where some of the hitters have gone, where it's, the Dylan Carlsons, the Nolan Gormans, and Jordan Walkers right now who have struggled to live up to those expectations. So I don't know. Keep our fingers crossed. We hope for good things, right? Let's talk about last night's comeback win. Specifically, I want to talk about Nolan Arenado next. And it's just really nice to see Nolan Arenado smiling again. And, there's a change. There's something going on here. And it might be about attitude with Arenado. So we'll get into that next on Locked On Cardinals. The heat and humidity during the St. Louis summer is no joke. Us natives know all about it, how it can affect you in a lot of negative ways. So it's important to stay hydrated so you can enjoy your outdoor activities the rest of this summer into the fall, because we know it doesn't just as soon as September rolls around, it's just, we get cold. It's not true. It's till around, I don't know, mid-October, something like that. So you still got plenty of time to get outdoors and do stuff. High school football games, college football games, camping, still go to Six Flags, all these cool things. And Liquid IV can help you stay hydrated for these important moments. It's the ultimate weapon against the heat and humidity. Stay hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Liquid IV, it's more than just a drink. It's a science-backed way to hydrate better than you ever have before, and it's delicious with so many great flavors to choose from. Personal favorites are tangerine and white peach, but you got so many that you can go look at liquidiv.com and pick out your favorite flavors. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than just water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink and 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. With the season winding down, there's only so many chances to get out and catch the Cardinals in action. Plenty of seats are available, and Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, and they make getting tickets faster and easier to go see your St. Louis Cardinals or whatever it is you're into, whether it's concerts, comedy, theater, NFL games, college games, wherever you want to go watch a sporting event. It doesn't necessarily have to be in St. Louis, but they got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets and any tickets that you would be interested in, with flash deals, zone deals, all-in pricing, seat views. They got the lowest price guarantee, which means Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if it's not the lowest price guaranteed. The guesswork, take it out, gone, bye. Out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast with our buddy Sully, who is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A reminder, you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with this afternoon's game with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Cardinals. And thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments and feedback on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. It's always welcome and encouraged. Been a tough year for Nolan Arenado. I'm not telling you something you don't know. It's been a tough couple of years for the likely future Hall of Famer who came to the Cardinals hoping to be a part of something special, right? After playing in Colorado for the first 8 years of his career, where he found a ton of success, but as far as the team went, not as much as he had hoped, right? So he kind of was like, look, I kind of want to become a St. Louis Cardinal. I like how they just kind of win stuff over there, and they're always in the race, and it just looks like it's a lot of fun. He became one of the best all-around players in baseball with the Rockies, though. 8-time Gold Glove winner, 4-time Platinum Gold Glove winner, perennial MVP candidate while he's there, 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger Award winner, led the NL in home runs 3 times, led the whole league in RBIs twice. He was a beast in Colorado. Comes to St. Louis, first two years, they were great. They were great. 2 gold, platinum gloves, 2 all-star appearances, silver slugger, finished 3rd in the MVP in 2021. And more importantly, to probably both Arenado and us, the Cardinals were winning ball games. 90 wins in his first year, 93 in his second year. And then everything crumbled last year as the team fell to 71 and 91. Nato, although still an all-star last season, you saw his numbers dip, 266, 26 home runs, 93 RBIs, which for a normal third baseman, that's a hell of a season. But for Nolan Arenado, the guy that he had been his entire career, it was a bit of a letdown. People were disappointed. Arenado was disappointed in his season. And, of course, it doesn't help when the team loses the way it did. Now, if Nolan Arenado had put those numbers up and the team still won 90 games, you wouldn't really be crying about it all that much. You'd say things like, well, imagine if Nato had done this, how good we would have been. Are we thinking 95 to 100 wins? But because they lost, it stands out as a down year for him. This year, even though the Cardinals have won more games and are on pace to win more games than they did last year, has been worse for Nolan Arenado specifically. He's only got 14 home runs thus far, 61 RBIs. The OPS plus is right at league average of just 100. That is surely not what Nolan or the Cardinals expected here in 2024. But recently, you've seen him hitting better. You've seen him hit with more authority. There was a tweet about his bat speed and how his bat speed is as good as it's been all season here in August, which is at the end of August, which is weird because usually people get tired as we get down the stretch here. In August, he's hitting .302 with 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. The OBP is up to 343, the slugging to 448, the OPS up to 791, OPS plus at 118. What we've seen this month is more in line of what we thought we were going to get for the entire season. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. So to see him come through again on Wednesday night, clutch, 9th inning, was cool to see. We saw the walk-off grand slam against the Brewers, which was awesome recently, and now you get this walk-off RBI hit, and it has given Nolan Arenado and the fans something to smile about in a year where smiles have been few and far between. It doesn't feel as bad as last year, but it still feels like a huge letdown this year, and it feels like we're just kind of dragging to the finish line. And to have a couple of these moments for Nolan Arenado, it's nice. It's very nice. He also made a couple of excellent plays defensively over at third last night. And whether it's been an injury, I don't know. We haven't heard or been told about any injury that he has dealt with. We know he dealt with some stuff last year. I don't know. I don't know what it's been. But maybe it's not physically. What if it's just been a mental thing this whole time? Perhaps just his overall outlook on things have changed recently, and that could be the cause for the turnaround. Because Nato told MLB.com's John Denton, what I've come to realize is that if I'm not going to perform well, I'm definitely not going to be a cancer in this clubhouse to anybody. I'm still going to try to help. I mean, I can still lead in different ways. It may not be with performance, but I can still help these guys out, spend time with them, and get to know them. The young guys with their energy has helped me to perform better because I just want to compete with them and enjoy it. I am trying to get lost in this competition and not be too worried about what my numbers say. I know they're not where I want them to be, but I can't change it overnight. I want to go out there and compete, and whatever happens, happens. Now, my takeaway from that is that it's almost like he's found a sense of peace here at the end of August, or maybe just in the month of August in general, because he's been good. But a sense of peace that, look, I'm not the 40 home run guy anymore. That's just not who I am. My body is not allowing me to do that the way I'm being pitched and the way things are. I'm not going to be that guy right now. I'm also not the future anymore, which is a tough pill to swallow when you realize that, like, hey, I'm not in my prime now. Maybe, am I the old guy in the room? Like, it happens to all of us. At some point, you turn around and you're like, when did everybody start to become like kids? And I'm like the old guy. When did this happen? And perhaps spending time around Matt Carpenter and Brandon Crawford while he was here kind of helped show him a path on how to be a better leader, even when things aren't going great for him personally. Because everything we've ever heard about Nolan is that he takes it very personal. When he's not doing well, he's very, very hard on himself. And when you aren't happy with yourself, it sets tone about you. Like, you don't want to be around a person who's in a bad mood, right? And if you're always in a bad mood, nobody wants to be around you. Everybody's going to be like, eh. But maybe he's learning now. Something has clicked that despite his disappointment in his own game, that these young guys they still look at him. They're still like, holy crap. It's Nolan Arenado, man. Like, he's the MVP candidate. He always will be in his eyes. The way Nolan saw Albert Pujols when he walked into that clubhouse in his final year in St. Louis, although not the same Albert, but everybody looks at him, like, that's freaking Albert Pujols right there, man. And that's how these young guys view Nolan Arenado. They grew up watching him. And they still look at him and see the MVP candidate that he was for 10 years in this league. And, his body language and his actions, they'll have an impact on these kids around him as much as they do on himself. And I think learning that that's something that he's exuding and it's not a good thing, and that he had to figure out a different way, I think that's a good thing for Nolan Arenado and the Cardinals moving forward, because next year it might just be him and Contreras in the everyday lineup as somebody who's like 30 years or older. Like, there could be a serious youth shift next year. His buddy Goldie may not be there. Matt Carpenter, Tommy Pham, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, they may not be here. Probably won't be here. And it's going to be him that is the Matt Carpenter of the team now. And it looks like he's starting to embrace the idea of that happening, and he's okay with it. And he's come to terms with it. And he's like, all right, I can do it this way. I can be a leader in a different way. Giving guidance to young players just getting their start in the league. And it sounds like he's making those mental adjustments to do that. And that's great to hear. And that's great for the Cardinals and great for that clubhouse. Speaking of great, Andre Pallante, excellent again last night. We're going to talk about him next on Locked On Cardinals. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members and the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike the other apps that are out there, PrizePicks just has you going up against the numbers. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you watch your winnings roll in. Simple. Now, if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fee back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. How awesome is that? Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5, and you don't even need to win. You put the bet down, $5, you don't win, so what? You get the $50 bonus anyway. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Who's going to do good? Who's going off? Who's going to blow it up this year? Who's not? You can pick against people. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Just download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who's got you covered every single day. Find the link to Locked On MLB in the description so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. How impressive has Andre Pallante been? Like, seriously. Another one of those Cardinal prospects that They did the yo-yo thing with. They couldn't figure it out. What do we want to do with this guy? We don't know. We don't know what the hell to do with him. Starter, reliever, up, down, up, down. Can he only get lefties out? What are we doing against righties? Like, they finally put him in the rotation. They finally just give him a spot and go, hey, do this. Let's find out. And you know what they found out? They found out the kid can pitch at the major league level and can do it as a starter. All right, we're finding out that Matthew Liberatore is better as a reliever. We're finding out that Andre Pallante is better as a starter. And he's been their best starting pitcher for quite a while now, to be honest. As a starter this year, 6-5, ERA 3.50 and 15 starts. In 9 appearances in the bullpen, 0-1, ERA 6.30. Apples and oranges, right? And in his last 4 starts, he's 2-0 with a 2.13 ERA while averaging over 6 innings a start, which is exactly what the Cardinals are looking for. Since June 28th, he's only had 2 games where he's allowed more than 3 earned runs. He's got an ERA of 3.02 in those 10 starts over the time span. He's done exactly what you wanted. He's been exactly what you wanted. You were hoping that other pitchers that are in this rotation, guys like Gibson and Len and Michaelis, your veterans, would be pitching like Andre Pallante has. They have not lived up to those expectations. I know Gibson's had he's had an okay season, but this is what you were hoping for, right? You're hoping for this. You were hoping for more of this from Michaelis, but you haven't gotten it. And it's going to make moving on from Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson this offseason that much more likely when you've got an Andre Pallante that you can trust now. You're like, I've seen it in an expanded time span. It's not a small sample size anymore. This is 2.5 months at the major league level, and he's doing it. So props to him for stepping his game up and just becoming a better pitcher overall. And props to whoever helped him along the way, whether it's Contreras, whether it's Dusty Blake, whoever's had a hand in it. Good for you. Good for you. Good stuff. Props to Paul Goldschmidt, 6 for his last 7 at the plate. Mason Wynn, 2 more hits last night, scored the game-winning run, now up to 286 on the year. 9th in the National League batting title race. Is 135 hits, 7th most in the National League. How good are you, Mason Wynn? Cardinals 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position last night. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nice change from what we've been used to so far this season. Speaking of Matthew Liberatore, another scoreless appearance. Hasn't given up a run in his last 7 innings. He's got 8 strikeouts over that time span. Been excellent. And I recently ran a poll on our Locked On Cardinals Twitter account. Like, who do you trust in a high leverage situation more of the lefties? Did you want JoJo, Libby, or John King? And poor John King didn't get a whole lot of votes, but overwhelmingly the votes went to Matthew Liberatore. People are beginning to trust him, and for good reason, because he's been really, really good. And then you got JoJo, who came in last night, gave up the game-tying home run. Again, long ball, really been a problem for him this year. 7 blown saves now for JoJo Romero. But we're staying positive because it was a win. Ryan Helsley gave up the leadoff bloop double to Luis Arraez, who handles the bat, like the physical bat, better than probably anybody in Major League Baseball. Like, I don't even know how he hit that pitch for a double down the line and left. It was crazy. It's crazy. He's unbelievable. Like, what a get for the Padres earlier this year. I mean, holy crap. Smart stuff. But Helsley's able to pitch around it. Strikes out Cronenworth and then Machado, which was an epic battle. That was cool to watch. That was fun. Had like a playoff atmosphere in front of like 5,000 people, but it was still like a cool, the crowd was into it. It was fun. It was fun to see. Strikes them both out, ends the inning. Team comes back, gets the win in the top of the inning with the base hits from Mason Wynn and Victor Scott and then Nato coming through. So fun victory. Loved it. Enjoyed it thoroughly. They're back at it today. Sonny Gray versus Michael King, as I said. They're going to start here momentarily. So enjoy the game. We'll talk about it again tomorrow. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.